Jason Chaffetz from Utah, freshman Republican, takes Obama to task for breaking campaign promises. He says, I'm one of 22 House freshmen. We didn't create this mess. I can look you in the eye and tell you, we have not been obstructionist. The Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And when you stood up before the American people multiple times, excuse me, and said you would broadcast the healthcare debates on C-SPAN, you didn't. I was disappointed, and I think a lot of Americans were disappointed. You said you weren't going to allow lobbyists in the senior-most positions with you in your administration, yet you did. You said you go by line through the healthcare debate or through the healthcare bill, and there were 6 of us who sent you a letter and said we would like to take you up on your offer. We'd like to come. We never got a call. We were never involved in any of those discussions, and when you said in the House of Representatives that you were going to tackle earmarks, and in fact you didn't want to have any earmarks in any of your bills, I jumped out of my seat and applauded you. But it didn't happen.
The truth of the matter is that if you look at the healthcare process, just over the course of the year, overwhelmingly, the majority of it actually was on C-SPAN because it was taking place in congressional hearings in which you guys were participating. I mean, how many committees were there that helped to shape this bill? Countless hearings took place. Now, once it got through the committee process, and there were now a series of meetings taking place all over the Capitol trying to figure out how to get the thing together. That was a messy process. And I take responsibility for not having structured it in a way where it was all taking place in one place that could be filmed. I was confronted at the beginning of my term with an omnibus package that did have a lot of earmarks from Republicans and Democrats, and a lot of people in this chamber. And the question was I going to have a big budget fight at a time when I was still trying to figure out whether or not the financial system was melting down, and we had to make a whole bunch of emergency decisions about the economy. So what I said was, let's keep them to a minimum, but I couldn't excise them all. The challenge, I guess, I would have for you as a freshman is, what are you doing inside your caucus to make sure that I'm not the only guy who's responsible for this stuff, so that we're working together?
Yeah.
I can stand here unequivocally and say that there has not been an administration who was tougher on making sure that lobbyists weren't participating in the administration than any administration that's come before us. Now, what we did was, if there were lobbyists who were on boards and commissions that were carryovers and their term hadn't completed, we didn't kick them off. We simply said that moving forward, anytime a new slot opens, they're being replaced.
Well, young Master Jason, do you get that? Do you get it? He was confronted at the beginning of his term with an omnibus spending package that did have a lot of earmarks from Republicans and Democrats and a lot of people in this chamber. Jason, did you miss that? Huh? And he goes on, the question was I going to have a big budget fight at a time I was still trying to figure out whether or not the financial system was melting down? Who brought that on, Jason? Huh? And we had to make a whole bunch of emergency decisions about the economy? Big stuff, Jason. Not little smart-assy comments and little things from an apparent jerk like you. Breaking his campaign promises, Jason? You need to go back to Utah and maybe spend another couple of years as a missionary before you go to Washington. There's something to be said for that Mormon missionary thing, where the young men go out on the road and try to convert people to Mormonism, tell them about the Book of Mormon and the angel Moroni and yada, yada, yada. Toughens them up. But apparently Jason Chaffetz here, freshman representative from Utah, didn't quite get the message. Maybe you need to go back on the road, Jason. Because you still haven't figured out that before you talk about the mote in the eye of the person you're looking at, check out the beam in your own.